This is Sass Freeman, who I had the absolute pleasure of meeting at the North Worcestershire Business Leaders meeting a couple of months ago now, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
At Hogarth Stone Manor, and just purely by chance we ended up sitting next to each other. Well, I say purely by chance. I picked the most glamorous person in the room to go and sit by, and
I'm not
it just
sure it worked
happened to
quite
be
like that,
Sass.
but I like the sound of it.
And we got chatting, as we do, and Sass just told me the most inspiring story, which is her story. And what I didn't realise was Sass was actually the speaker that day. And because Sass is an ambassador for the Stroke Association, because at the age of 45, you had the first of 2 strokes.
That's correct,
Yes, in that year. And I was absolutely gobsmacked. As she went on and explained her story, which she will very kindly share with you. I will point out, and I will mention this at the end, but Sass went on to write this book, 2 Strokes Not Out, which is currently available from her website. Details will be in the descriptor below this video. As from yesterday, you can actually get the free download of her audio, which she recorded herself not so long ago down in London, because you texted me on the day, I think, to say I've just recorded it.
That's correct.
So I'm going to introduce you to Sass. Thank you so much for taking time to do this video today. And just if you don't mind sharing your story,
Not at all.
and then we'll have a good natter about it.
Well, I'd also like to thank you, Rob, because I have to say that the feeling was mutual on that day. Your company was equally, it was super. The energy that you give out, I think everybody sees and feels, and so that was wonderful. So thank you.
Thank
for
you.
that.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
As far as, yes, my story is concerned and the stroke, the negative side and I suppose message of stroke is that sadly it can hit anyone at any time, and very naively I thought that because I was fit and healthy, naturally slim, didn't put on weight, and I was very active. I rode racehorses, I practiced yoga, Pilates weekly, I swam weekly, and I walked a lot, albeit quite often to the pub, but it was a lengthy walk to and from the pub, but I was very, very active. So I thought that I would be the last person to experience a stroke.
What was the impact for you then? I mean, you were 45, clearly very active.
Yeah.
What happened then post-stroke for you? What was the effect?
Huge life-changing event. I mean, if you just forget the actual stroke as stroke itself, but my whole life as I knew it is so different now. It's just been taken away, if you like. Now I'm not allowed to drive, my license has been taken away from me, I can't work, and even 6 years on I struggle with fatigue and memory issues, but you can't focus on the things you can't do. I miss the activities. I miss not being an active person. I miss the fact I can't go skiing. I can't just go outside and be active. I do long to do those things, and if I look at photographs of myself when I was doing those activities, it's almost like I'm looking at someone else, someone that's died, someone that I used to know. It's a really weird sensation, but you can spend your life doing that and eventually become really low and really down, or you just think, okay, certain doors have closed, but every time one closes, another opens somewhere, and you have to look ahead and look at what has opened. What can I now do? Not what can't I do? I can't do this, I can't do that. I have now written a book, I now paint, I raise money for charity through my paintings, through my books, and I mentor people all over the world on stroke and stroke recovery. I've met people I would never have met. We wouldn't have met. No. We wouldn't have had the conversations that we've had. The fabulous, energetic conversations we've had about the wonderful people we've both met.
We had a very passionate conversation about how frustrated we get with victims.
Oh, yeah. That word.
The victim mentality, right? And it's very, very easy, and we both know this, we've both been through things, but it's very easy to become a victim. to feel a victim of your situation, circumstance, whatever. We talked about the idea of actually that you're not a stroke victim and that you were a stroke survivor.
Yeah.
And then the more we talked, it was just like, no, you're not a survivor, you're a thriver. And then we came up with the idea of, let's be thrivers instead of survivors. And because to survive means that you're just living, you're not even living, you're alive.
Existing.
Yes, you're existing, you're alive. Whereas the idea of thriving from something is that it's become something new that actually does invigorate you. And as you said, yes, it's different. The life you had has changed.
Of course it has, for your whole family, not just you.
But it's different now, and your experience is different. And actually, because you're focusing on what you're gaining from that, you're thriving rather than surviving.
Exactly. And hopefully you're helping others to do exactly the same.
Yes.
Yes, it looks grim. Yes, it feels grim. Your whole world has fallen apart temporarily for everybody involved. And you cannot begin to understand how you can ever pick up the pieces again, because you've got this alien body that's just refusing to do absolutely anything. You can't make sense of your mind. You don't know what's happened. And you need encouragement. You need someone to tell you that it will improve, it will get better. And who better, what better than someone that's come out the other side?
We were talking earlier about the power of words. And I hear this a lot, particularly with specialists, consultants, doctors, people in the medical professions who are doing what they think is the right thing by being honest, being open. And of course, you have to be honest and you have to be open with
You've
stuff.
got to. There's a
But then there's a way to say things. Yes. I have had too many people that I've come across who've been told they would never feed themselves again, they would never talk again, they would never walk again, they would never do this, they will never do that again. And they have, all of them have. And that actually they were told things would get worse before they get better, and actually it didn't, because they decided that wouldn't be the case. They chose a mindset.
Yes.
And actually, I think sometimes it can be very motivating to be told you won't achieve something.
Because it makes you all the more determined.
Because it makes you go, I'm going to do it,
exactly.
aren't I? Absolutely.
But unfortunately, when it comes to ill health, you're on a different platform, and that isn't always possible, is it, to have that fight in you? Because I'm the mentality that you just said. But I do remember exactly what you've highlighted beautifully, which is someone came to help me, supposedly, and advise me. And their message to me was so damaging at the time. And I was told, now, someone who has a heart attack lives or dies, but if they live life again as normal. If someone has a stroke, they live or die, but if they live, life is never the same again. They're always disabled, they're always this, they're always that. Everything after that word always was negative. You can't do this anymore, you can't do that anymore. By the time she left, every ounce of hope that I'd had been taken away from me. I felt ready to give up. It was only because my brother said to me, just try and view it that is that person's point of view from her experience only being what she has been taught to pass on to you. She has no understanding of experience, no understanding of what you have been through so far and what you're going to go through. But it took me so long to take my brother's advice and act on it. And sadly, I see so many people who've had similar advice to that I was given and are still stuck where I so nearly remained. And that's the danger.
And that is the unfortunate power of words. And if they can kill or cure, absolutely kill or cure.
It can go either way.
Yes.
And it can, Our life will never be the same again.
No.
But it's different. It's a different version of us. It's the new us.
Yeah, and who's not to say it might end up being better?
Some things happen to us that you know, you can so easily view as, oh, why me, why this and why. But I just like to see it as a second chance, because how many of us get the opportunity of second chance in life? I'm still here, I'm still me, a different version of me, but I now have the ability to assist others. I've got the opportunity, the gift of opportunity to help others. I didn't have that before. I just had a job. I just worked.
I hope you've got an essence of what excited me about meeting Sass. She is an absolute inspiration and a wonderful example of being a stroke thriver, and actually not defined by that. Although this has become a massive purpose for you now,
Yes.
it doesn't define you.
No.
You know, I interact with you, not someone who's had a stroke. You're Sass, and you're great. You've got a fantastic
you're
energy
lovely.
about you. And she wrote a book, and I love people who write books. I want to ask you, what is the one piece of advice that you were either given or that you've learnt through your own experiences that you would like to share now with others? So what is the one thing that you think would be most useful at this point in time to share with other people?
Learn to listen to ourselves and value ourselves. Don't go through life putting everything and everyone else first at the expense of ourselves.
You know, based on that, there's a great analogy that I often use with people who tend to put everybody else ahead of themselves, is that when you're on a plane flight, part of the safety talk is, in the event of the cabin losing pressure, oxygen masks will fall from the ceiling. Ensure you put on your mask before helping anybody else.
Yeah, and that sums
And
it
this
up,
is a
really.
wonderful example of exactly what you're saying.
Yes.
That if you don't put on your oxygen mask first, you're only going to be able to help so many people.
Yeah.
But if you look after yourself first,
Yeah.
so you've got a good supply of oxygen, you could save the entire plane if needs be.
Yes.
So it's that value of, you know, value yourself as much as you value everybody else.
Exactly.
And in fact, actually, you should be your priority. That doesn't mean you're being selfish, self-centred or anything like that. It means actually you're facilitating the best you to be of use to everybody else.
Exactly. But it's taken stroke to actually make me learn that, which is ludicrous, really.
But you've learnt it. What a great lesson.
Well, I have.
What a great lesson.
Finally, it's sunk in, I think.
So anyway, at that point, we're going to leave that here because the light is fading, although we were saying we quite like this dim lighting because it's great for the complexion.
Well, it's just hiding all my wrinkles and you're shining through anyway. So
Thanks.
Thank you, Rob.
So I want to thank Sass so much for agreeing to do this interview today. And last plug of the book, Two Strokes Not Out by Sass Freeman, hopefully being a massive inspiration on what recovery and thriving is post-stroke. So Sass, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rob.
And I look forward to catching up with you again very soon.
Thank you. Take
All
care.
the best. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.